of 1800, which Jefferson dubbed the Revolution of 1800. In a reversal of fortunes, Jefferson topped Adams with 73 electoral votes against 65 for the incumbent. Apoplectic, Adams proceeded to appoint a slew of midnight judges, which brought us to this famous case of Marbury versus Madison that we've talked about here before, and other Jefferson foes to federal posts before leaving office. So he was loading up, to that extent, a minuscule, but nonetheless, the federal offices, bureaucracy, with partisans. And then Jefferson comes in and he's surrounded by these partisans. The House of Representatives, still controlled by Federalists, bitter at Jefferson's victory, dragged out the final selection process through dozens of deadlock ballots. Ironically, it was Hamilton, Jefferson's archenemy, but a man who now detested Adams, who ultimately tipped the scales in Jefferson's favor, making him president of the United States. It was a devastating defeat for Adams, who promptly decamped Washington without attending his rival's inauguration. The once inseparable duo exchanged not a word for the next 12 years. So they despised each other after really loving each other. It was left to Benjamin Rush, Dr. Benjamin Rush, the eminent Philadelphia physician, a mutual friend of both Jefferson and Adams, who took it upon himself to repair the fractured relationship. Starting in 1808, Dr. Rush reached out to both men, imploring them to reconnect. He said, "You must not die, for you have explained yourself to each other and to the world concerning your political opinions and conduct," Rush wrote to Adams. To Jefferson, he emphasized the importance of the, quote, Republican cause, unquote, and the need for its great champions to reconcile in their twilight years. Softened by age and the pleas of an old friend, Adams sent a tentative olive branch letter to Jefferson on January 1, 1812. And he said, "You and I ought not to die before we have explained ourselves to each other," he wrote, echoing Rush. Jefferson eagerly reciprocated, and so began a remarkable correspondence that would span 14 years and 158 letters. Their letters from 1812 to 1826 are among the most poignant and illuminating documents of the founding generation. With honesty, humor, and occasional hints of nostalgia, they reflected on their storied lives and the unfinished business of the nation they served. On July 4, 1826, in a stunning cosmic coincidence, both Jefferson and Adams died exactly 50 years to the day after the adoption of the Declaration of Independence they had crafted together. In his home in Quincy, 90-year-old Adams' last words were reportedly, "Thomas Jefferson survives." Unbeknownst to Adams, Jefferson had passed away a few hours earlier at Monticello at the age of 83. In the end, to this idea of political fellowship between Jefferson and Adams that endures, a testament to the possibilities of friendship and forgiveness against the backdrop of partisanship and division. These two giants of the American experiment, so different in temperament and worldview, yet united in their commitment to human liberty, embody the internal tensions and promise of the nation they helped found. Their 50-year journey, from collaborators to rivals to reconciled friends, here is America's own halting progress towards a more perfect union, navigating the tricky boundaries between individual liberty, common purpose, state and federal power, ideological purity and pragmatic compromise. Jefferson and Adams trace the outlines of the most fundamental debates of our democracy, debates that still resound today. To study the lives of Jefferson and Adams is thus to grapple with the essential nature of the American idea itself, an ongoing experiment in self-government, rife with setbacks and breakthroughs, conflicts and resolutions. Through their successes and failures, their agreements and arguments, their competition and comments, we can find both cautionary lessons and inspiring models for how to forge ahead as a nation. Now, this isn't an exact parallel, of course. Jefferson, Adams, Trump, and Musk. Donald Trump is the elected president of the United States, of the American people. He's trying to get a bill passed through Congress. These days, it's almost impossible. For the House of Representatives, where the Republican majority is a minuscule majority. And in the Senate, where the Republicans have about 6 or 8 rhinos or sort of liberal, left-center Republicans, who seem to vote no on virtually everything. And so you have bare working majorities if they're working at all. You have a massive bill that's been proposed to secure the border, to build up our defenses, to cut taxes, as the president promised. Not tax cuts for billionaires, as the left-wing Marxist Democrat cookies keep saying, but for working Americans, for blue-collar Americans, to get this economy really cooking. really cooking. They put money back in your pockets. And of course, the Democrats oppose it. So I would suggest to the Republicans in the Senate, if you want to cut, then cut. Cut. Who's stopping you? Nobody. Just get your damn job. And then get it to the House and get it passed. So the American people can profit from it. We can secure our borders even more. And we can do the things we need to do as a country. But I would say to Elon Musk, if you attacked first publicly on the bill, and then you attacked again, you have every right to say what you want and do what you want. It's a free country. But you might want to pick up the phone, and you might want to give him a call. And Mr. President, I'm sure you would take the call, as I said earlier, because in the end, Donald Trump does have a very big heart, and he is willing to forgive. So this is my advice. The common enemy here at home is the Democrat Party that seeks to fundamentally transform America. You see what they did with open borders. You see what they did with inflation. And the common enemy abroad is an Islamic regime in Iran that wants to get nuclear weapons and have missiles with which to attack our country, as well as the communist Chinese who seek to invade Taiwan while they're threatening Japan and South Korea and the Philippines and Australia. And of course, Putin, who likes to pound the hell out of civilian centers in Ukraine. At least to me, those are common enemies. So I think this will pass. Jefferson and Adams can get through it. I believe these gentlemen will get through it too.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else. Hello, America. I'm Mark Levin, and this is Life, Liberty, and Levin Saturday. Welcome to the program. We have two great guests. We have Governor Ron DeSantis and Victoria Coates, former Deputy National Security Advisor to President Trump in his first term, and Heritage Foundation National Security Vice President. But before we get to our great guests, I understand Rand Paul, who's been in the Senate now for some time, he says, look, all we're doing is spending ourselves into oblivion. Tom Massey in the House has never seen a budget he likes, and he talks about that too. And and I have some sympathy for them, but I don't understand them. I don't understand them. In fact, I don't understand members of Congress, many of whom have been there many years, some of them decades. I don't understand them. I said, Congress, fix it. Ladies and gentlemen, there have been a handful of us and over 5 million supporters and activists who've been talking about this for 20 years. That Congress can't fix itself. It's incapable of it. First of all, the Republicans have a bare majority, so they can barely agree on anything. Secondly, the Democrats have never seen a budget that wasn't bloated, out of control, massive debt that they didn't think was too small. So how do you fix this? You really can't. We have elections. They tell us they're going to. They don't. Why? Because they can't. Even this Congress today didn't create the situation that it's in. It took decades of Congresses. And then to blame Donald Trump, look at the spending, look at the taxing, look at the debt. You got people, as I said, who've been in there, they're in their 70s and 80s, they've spent their whole life in Congress. And Donald Trump is going to be a 2-term president, and then he's gone, and then the next president comes in. How do we fix this? They don't really tell us how we're going to fix this, because we can't. We can. Just like with the federal judges. We're sitting around waiting for the Supreme Court, which probably will cut the baby in half, if not worse. Oh, are they going to fix the lower court judges? No, but we can. How? Well, there's a couple of methods. Number one, elect the right people to the House and the Senate who can control the courts, eliminate some of the courts. That's what the framers intended. But we talked about that already. So what about this massive bloated budget and this debt that's going to suck us in? And everybody really expects Donald Trump to fix this like that? When he doesn't have a Congress that will do it? When the Democrat Party's fighting for the complete opposite? No. The framers were concerned about this. And they told us what to do about this. And I want to remind you, the Constitution gives us the answer to so much about our government, particularly when it's tyrannical, it's out of control. The Constitution itself provides the means for restoring self-government and averting societal catastrophe. or in the case of societal collapse, resurrecting the